The Minister for Infrastructure and Transport.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I ask leave of the House to make a ministerial statement relating to the second anniversary of the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370.
Is leave granted? I thank the member for Rankin. The Minister for Infrastructure and Transport has the call.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And Tuesday, the 8th of March 2016, marks 2 years since the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. Members will recall that the scheduled flight between Kuala Lumpur and Beijing disappeared, with 239 people on board, including 7 people who called Australia home, 6 of them Australian citizens. It is fitting today that we take time to remember the people on board the flight and those who grieve for them. For the families and friends of those on board, the last 2 years have been nothing short of harrowing, intensified by the protracted uncertainty around the circumstances in which the aircraft disappeared. We share the burden of their sorrow. The Australian Government is working systematically and intensively to locate the aircraft, together with our search partners, Malaysia and China. We have utilised the skills of international experts to identify the most likely resting place of the aircraft and are using cutting-edge technology to scour the ocean floor. Deputy Speaker, around 90,000 square kilometres of the seafloor has been searched so far, of a total search area of 120,000 square kilometres. Through our collective efforts, we hope to locate the aircraft and give some comfort to the family and friends of those on board and help us understand what happened to flight MH370. Regrettably, the aircraft may never be found and we may never know what happened. Members of the House may be aware that a piece of debris approximately 1 metre in length has been found on a beach in Mozambique, a location consistent with drift modelling commissioned by the Australian Transport Safety Bureau. Deputy Speaker, this piece of debris will be transferred to Australia for assessment. It is too early to speculate on the origin of the debris at this stage. I'd like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the work of the crews on the search vessels. These men and women work around the clock to keep the ship moving while highly skilled technicians on board analyse a constant stream of sonar data. They work in often treacherous conditions for weeks at a time away from their homes and loved ones to carry out this important mission. I know they've been deeply affected by the tragedy of MH370 and that they are keenly aware of the hope many have invested in them. I thank all those involved for their sustained efforts. As we search the remaining area, I remain hopeful the aircraft will be found. I assure the family and friends of those on board that their loved ones have not been forgotten and they remain in our thoughts. I thank the House.
Is the Minister presenting a copy of the statement?
Deputy Speaker, I present a copy of my ministerial statement.
I thank the Minister. I call the Honourable Member for Perth to speak in response to the Minister's statement.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. We joined the government today in marking the second anniversary of the very tragic disappearance of Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 and the 239 persons on board that fateful flight. We know that each anniversary of such a tragedy brings the ache of loss into sharper focus, and the thoughts of Australians are once again with the families and friends of those who have been lost. And we note the most recent development that a piece of debris has been found in Mozambique in a location that leaves open the possibility that it was indeed from the MH370. We all await the results of assessment of the debris in hope that it will help solve this terrible mystery. Each time something like this occurs, it gives hope to the families and friends of those lost that an answer may not be far off. And while locating the aircraft will never remove the grief of their loss, it is the not knowing that makes this tragedy all the more profound. We join the government in paying tribute to the hard work and dedication of the search teams who continue to scour the ocean in sometimes the most trying of circumstances to help bring the sense of closure to those affected by this tragedy. We thank those that have been involved for their efforts, which we remain hopeful will one day bear fruit.
I thank the member